Welcome to another episode of Culture Blitz, the football podcast. With me, as always, I got my BOP basketball analysts. These guys know everything about basketball. And they're switching gears over here to football right now. I got Jay. What's up, Jay?
What's up, guys?
And then also my man's Jake. What's up, man?
I'm doing all right.
Last week, we started off the podcast with talking about the whole COVID situation with the NFL. And here we are again a week later, and a lot more has happened, which is why we're talking about it. So last time we talked about it was eight people that had positive for COVID, like between the staff and the players. And now a week later, it's like at least double that. So it's now like 16. That's crazy. I was looking up some of the stuff on it, and the thing is now that the Titans and Steelers game didn't happen on Sunday. It's now happening week 7, which is on the 25th of October. And then the Ravens and Steelers game, which was supposed to be that week, is just being pushed back a week. So technically, the Titans and Steelers had a bye, I believe. And then also, which is also crazy, shocking news as well, was Cam Newton was tested positive for COVID. So with that being said, do you think the situation with the COVID outbreak is going to get worse for other teams and NFL as a company as the season goes on? Start with Jay.
I don't know. I don't really want to go too far into like what the business aspect of it is in terms of what goes on. I feel like we've talked about it so often that everybody understands. If COVID pops off, they're going to have to slow things down. They're going to have to they might have to take a short hiatus for a week or two to see how things develop. They're going to have to slow down on their process of trying to move fans back into the stadiums. Certain teams have already tried experimenting with it. If COVID cases pop back out again, the way we've seen them to a certain extent already, they might slow down on even some of those early upbringings. I think that kind of stuff we already understand. From a football standpoint, let's talk about just the football aspect of moving this week, essentially giving the Steelers and the Titans a bye this early. I think there's something that comes from the fact that having a bye week in week 4 of the season, I mean, you are asking a lot of these teams moving forward in terms of the type of pretty much grind that they're going to have to go through, because that's what football is. And now, rather than having that midway point break off the way most teams do in terms of having their bye week, now they're having it significantly early in comparison to other teams. And for me, I'm going to just speak for me as the Steelers fan on the podcast. Now I got to have back-to-back weeks where I'm going against the Titans with Derrick Henry and then god dang Lamar Jackson the week after from a running standpoint. So having to deal with those two teams back-to-back when I wasn't expecting to have to deal with that this season when the schedule came out, it kind of blows, because those are going to be two really rough back-to-back games against two really strong AFC opponents. And that wasn't the deal when we entered the season. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not, from a fan perspective, I back down from nobody, but those are two tough games to have back-to-back, and it all being because of this COVID situation. So I think from a player standpoint, from a team's perspective, rather than it just being all business based, from a team perspective, having your bye week in week 4 is rough, because it obviously changed the scheduling, and now it changes the way the matchups fall into place. And you're taking on teams where the Ravens could be hot 7 weeks into the season. The Titans could pick up where they left off and get it rolling over the next couple of seasons, versus being able to catch a team like the Titans in particular in this situation, catching them early where they might still be trying to work out kinks. Honestly, I think Tannehill is still kind of a guy they're fiddling around with. I think being able to catch him earlier on in the season would be a good way to kind of snag a win potentially against a team like that, where Tannehill tends to kind of pick up his play later on in the year. Now we got to face Tannehill when he decided to ramp the thing up midway through the season. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I look at a little bit more. And I think that's something that for other teams moving forward, if this COVID outbreak stuff continues to move, like how we had the Monday night games adjusted and things like that, those kind of scheduling situations probably have more of an impact on the season itself than just postponing a game indefinite, or canceling a game indefinitely, or lowering the amount of fans that potentially can come in, like things that are business based. That from a player perspective, I would just hate to continuously see the schedule change around week to week based off this kind of stuff. So yeah.
I mean, I kind of share the same views. I do think that the NFL will be able to sustain more outbreaks if it comes more on the Cam Newton front, where it's one person on the team tests positive, and to date, and to the best of our knowledge, no one else on the team has tested positive. I think that's okay and that can be sustained. But if they see more stuff like what's going on with the Titans right now, I mean, the minimum quarantine guideline is 2 weeks. And you know that the NFL, being an organization that most people in the world know about, they're going to set that model. They're not going to let guys play within 2 weeks of testing positive. And if they show symptoms, they can be out for longer than that. It's not like you are right back to 100% after you get over the virus. And so I think that they could be in trouble, because the Titans, I mean, I'm even a little skeptical to see if next weekend's game goes on against Buffalo, because I think their number is up to 18 now. 18 people.
Are we talking about the Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said at least 16 earlier, because I'm like, I know it's at least 16. I know it could be more than that. But yeah, that's crazy.
Like over a third of the active roster. Right around a third. And so they're in trouble. If this keeps happening, and you got teams that are trying to go out there, like, not only is it not going to be feasible for them to pick up a bunch of guys off the practice squad, but it's going to illegitimize the season. What if this happened to the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Packers or the Saints or another top team in either conference? It illegitimizes it. This is not like the NBA, where you say, like, where each team was at full strength because no one got COVID in the bubble. Teams are going to be at a very big disadvantage because their players test positive. Like we saw with Cam Newton. The Patriots kept it kind of close last night in their game. Granted, they did fall apart at the end, and it was primarily because of the 3 interceptions combined between Hoyer, and then they benched him and had to play Stidham. What happens if they stick with Cam the whole game? I can almost guarantee you he wouldn't be throwing 3 picks. I mean, that's a totally different ball game. And the Patriots have looked good this season despite losing Brady. So I think it illegitimizes a season, and if they keep having minor outbreaks like this, it's really going to change the course of the season. What I think the NFL should do is, I think they should block off a 2-week period between the end of week 16 or between the end of week 17 and the beginning of the playoffs, because we've only seen one game that's we've had 2 games that have been moved, but they just pushed the Chiefs-Patriots back a day. And I think that with the Titans game, like, I think they should have tried to play this at the end of the season, just to kind of keep the NFL's schedule, like, maintaining that kind of flow, like Jay said, because it's not good if you plan to have a bye week in this time, and then all of a sudden, like a month before, you're told, oh, you're going to have to go up against 2 very good teams back to back. Like, it's hard for teams to do that. And so I think the plan that the NFL has set up right now is destined to fail. I think they're kind of on a train, like they're on a train that's getting ready to turn into a train wreck. But I'm willing to ride it out as long as they can, and I hope for the best, and I hope players can stay safe while still being able to have a season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's just crazy how many people have tested positive on the Titans. Like, just that organization alone is just crazy. And then just the whole effect that, like, just Cam Newton alone testing positive for COVID affected, believe it or not, it affected a lot, just from one person getting it. It shifted so many games and all that stuff like that, and shifting the players' like preparation and stuff. Like, I think the Chiefs had to like travel the same day or something like that, and they had to do like retesting and all that. And then like the Vikings, because I think the Vikings had played the Titans like before the whole COVID situation happened. So then like they had closed down like their facilities and did some retesting as well, but they didn't get anything like positive, which is good. But is I don't know. It's just crazy how it's just shifting. That was the thing that I was saying in the last episode, is just how it's going to affect, each and every team. Like it's kind of like a domino effect, and then even just like one person can just affect everything, and just like the movements of like the games and stuff like that. It's just weird. I mean, I know it definitely affects everyone, even down to the coaches and like their game plans and stuff like that. Because the Chiefs were pretty much, I'm sure, prepared to, plan against Cam Newton, and then we'll see what happens with as it goes on and stuff like that. But it seems like they're trying to get it under control. But some highlights of the week. The Eagles got the first win of the season and first in the division. Lamar Jackson got the 50-yard rushing touchdown, which was his longest of his career so far. And technically, the Steelers are still undefeated. You guys see what I did there?
I'm going to take it up where I can get it, you know what I mean?
So real quick, is there any highlights or comments that you guys want to talk about from week 4? Jake?
Happy the Birds finally got a win, and we're somehow still in first. First place is first place. I think the NFL needs to change their system for playoffs, because I'd rather not see an NFC East team make it to the playoffs and get throttled in the first round. So that'll be interesting to watch. But I mean, go Birds.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, if you just alley-oop it to me real quick, I'm going to just roll through the fantasy update, and I'm going to start on a low light, bro. I got shellacked this week. Golly. 88 points on the night. It's my first week not cracking a hundo. And let's just start off with this man, Calvin Ridley, who gave me a goose egg when he got me all hyped when I found out him and Julio Jones was starting. I'm like, geez Louise, we in there like swimwear. Wake up the next morning, he ain't got no yards, he ain't got no catches. My man's Nick Chubb went out due to injury midway through the game, only had 43 yards. Somehow Tyler Lockett only had 2 catches against Miami. And guess who I got just chilling on the bench? Adam Thielen with 8 receptions, 114 yards, and a TD for 26 points. Just chilling. Move over to this man, Tony, who had another eating day from Russell Wilson. I mean, Mike Evans did his thing for the first time this season. 7 receptions, 122 yards, a touchdown, 25 points on the night. And then pretty much the next guy up was DK. And I don't know if y'all done heard, but Brian Westbrook got capped on earlier on social media for saying that he thinks specifically that DK Metcalf is a faster version of Terrell Owens. And all I'm going to say is Terrell Owens didn't deny the take. So, Tony, you might got something brewing over there if that's what type of player you got starting on a weekly basis. And then let's get to this man, Jake, because I don't even want to look at the full roster. We're just going to talk about 4 guys in particular. Tom Brady, 5 TDs on the night. Still got a pick, though. He got to get that figured out. I don't know what's up with the guy, but I'm telling y'all, he paying that homage to my boy Jameis. I'm just telling you. But 32 points on the night nonetheless. Aaron Jones, 71 yards and receiving touchdown. Got 22 points on the night. And then the next guy up pretty much from there, Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions, 115 yards. But we can't let this slide. This man, Jake, had Joe Mixon on the bench with 151 yards and 3 total touchdowns. And he had 42 points chilling on the bench. All I'm saying is if he had started this man, we would have been blown out the water, because the way it looked, it was Jake with 127 points in the night to take first place, Tony to take second place with 104, and then me with the lowly 88 points taking an L to the bot. Man, and they had Brown from Tennessee on a bye week and still beat me by a couple of points. So that was just kind of the week that we had. So I would say week 4 fantasy-wise, I got to get back in the lab. This man, Jake, might have to start Joe Mixon. And Tony, I think you just need one more really good game from Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and next thing you know, I think you right back in the mix. But Jake's in front of all of us right now, so we gonna we're gonna have to duke it out and find a way to overtake first place. So I would say those are my little highlights from week 4. Is just the quick little fantasy update stuff.
That was a fantasy score update. So, I mean, yeah, congratulations to Jake. I know he's having a good week with that, plus the Eagles dub. So,
Speak on it though, Tony. Hold on, Tony. I can't hold on. Matter of fact, wait a minute. Real quick before you pass over, because I know I kind of took the fantasy joint. Tell Jake. Oh, now we on recording. So tell Jake what you told me off camera about how you felt going into Monday night when you saw the score.
Yeah, so okay. So it was a long 2 days, day and a half, whatever you want to call it, right? With everything that was going on and stuff like that. So I'm chilling in first place and everything. Everything's all cool. I take a look at Jake's roster real quick to see like what players he had left because it was like Sunday night. And I saw that he had Aaron Jones and Tyreek Hill, and I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "Man, it's been fun in first place while it lasted." He just completely took over,
bro. I mean, smooth GGs. Like I saw that he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then I saw that you had Tyreek and had I mean, but you were pretty much in a situation where, with that, when you had Tyreek and Aaron Jones, I was like, dang, this is going to be rough. And then I looked at who I had left, and I was like, I got Calvin Ridley. I was like, shoot, if I want anybody to go to bat for me as my last potential scorer to try to lock things up, I'm going to go with Calvin. He's been giving me 20-plus, 30-plus points every week. And then y'all know the rest, man. Y'all know the rest. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, Jake got us on our heels right now, bro. We got to get in the lab. I know I do. Shoot. For real.
Yeah, fun fact, for those that don't know, I be calling my man Jake the football guru because he know his stuff. Like when he predicted the Joe Burrow throwing the 300 yards thing, he was like spot on with that. And then Joe Burrow continuously doing that week in and week out. So we're going to move on into the primetime predictions and scores for week 5. So we're going to start with Thursday. Finally, we get a decent game, I could say, because I feel like the past few weeks we've been getting like just weird matchups. But this time we actually got like there's some history between like the players and coaches and staff on each team and stuff like that. And this is just a better matchup overall. So you got the Bucks versus the Bears on Thursday night. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Jake. Who you got, man?
I got the Bucks. I mean, it seems like Tom Brady is starting to figure out this whole Tampa Bay thing. He really showed off his chemistry with Mike Evans, which we hadn't seen really over the first 3 weeks. And yeah, their defense is not that good, but it doesn't need to be good when you're going up against an offense like Chicago. So these teams are really kind of opposite. Chicago's a team that heavily relies on their defense. Tampa Bay's a team that heavily relies on their offense. But when I look at this game, I just think that Tampa Bay's defense is too good for the Chicago's offense. And I just think that outweighs it, and I think that the Bucks are going to win this one. I don't think Brady's going to need to throw 5 touchdown passes because I don't think Chicago is going to be in a situation that the Chargers were where they were up by 17. But I'll go ahead and say it'll be maybe 24-14 Bucks.
I mean, I'm going to just take the alley-oop from Jake. I mean, pretty much everything he said makes it easier. I mean, looking at it now, it seems like Brady's finally getting his strides. I think they're catering the offense a little bit more to him. I think one of the things we realized in this past game was that he's finally being able to get the ball off a lot quicker, and I think that's helpful. They've got a little slot receiver in there that he's starting to build a little rapport with too, so I think that's something – I know, like I said earlier, I'm going to have to get in the lab. That little wide receiver they got running around over there that's taking a lot of the space while Godwin's been in and out of the lineup, he might be a guy that I take a look at. Honestly, I think every point that Jake made is a great one, which is why I think, honestly, I think the Bucks win, and I think it's going to be like a 30-13 situation. Like, I think that the Bears defense is legit, but they're going to be on the field a ton with the way the Bears offense is running. Now, the wild card here is obviously with Nick Foles potentially coming into the starting lineup again, because that was something they flirted around with in the past game, and it did them some favors. But are they going to try to roll with the Nick Foles magic moving forward, and can he live up to the table for that?
Remember what happened last time Nick Foles faced off against Tom Brady? They were both on different teams, but that was Super Bowl 52 when Nick Foles just took care of Brady. I mean, that's what
Hey,
happened the
man.
last time, so it'll definitely be fun.
Right. I mean, that's for sure. That's my thing. I mean, I think he's the wild card. If he's the one who gets the start over Mitchell Trubisky, I don't know. They might be brewing something up. But unless we get the runaround on that and Mitch gets another try or something, I think that the Bucks handle it pretty good.
Yeah, so you guys both brought up a lot of great points, and Jake, like you said, about last time Nick Foles and Tom Brady played. So that's why I'm saying like just the history and just two quarterbacks is kind of makes it more interesting to watch. For me, I have the Bucks winning this one too, but like I wouldn't necessarily sleep too much on the Bears defense. That's why I would say like Tom Brady has to be a little bit more careful. I don't think he'll have like a 5 TD type of day, but I would say yeah, he would have to be careful going up against their defense. And then you got Nick Foles with I don't really know how he is right now in the Bears offense, but I mean, you never know. But for me, I would say the score would be like 34-21 Buccaneers.
Chicago scoring 3 touchdowns. That's bold of you.
I really was thinking about that too. That's why I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna rock with that. I'm gonna do that's my bold prediction.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and get into the next game, which is a Sunday night game, and that's the Vikings versus the Seahawks. Jay, I'm gonna start with you. What you got?
I think the Seahawks smashed the Vikings. I'm not even going to sit here and cap. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. I hope Adam Thielen has a good night because I need a bucket from this dude. I'm gonna start him, and he owed me one for real after doing that type of performance on the bench after giving me less than double digits every other week. So I hope he eats. But other than that, I mean, I just think Seattle's the better team. I think Russell Wilson obviously outclasses Kirk Cousins in every way. I feel like they have a lot more weapons. I think Tyler Lockett wakes up after a rough performance against Miami that like just I don't think anybody saw coming. I dang sure know I didn't. So I'm going to be honest. I think they go crazy. I'm thinking it's going to be like, I don't know, 35-21. Like, I think it's going to be bad for them for sure because the Seahawks are going to make the Vikings feel them after that sketchy performance against Miami. Like, I think they're not only just going to wake up after that game, I think they're going to, like, go ham for sure. So I think like 35-21. Yeah.
What you got, Jake?
I mean, I like the Seahawks winning this one, but I think it's going to be more of a shootout. I don't think it's going to be a 2-touchdown game. A lot of it depends on whether we see Jamal Adams back out there. He missed this past week, and he's probably their best or one of their top 2 players on defense. So if he's back, it definitely hurts the Vikings' chances a lot more. But I still think, I think this might be the game where we see Vikings wide receiver core really show out. They got guys like Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, who's kind of been a low-key boomer over the past few weeks. He's kind of a guy that's stepping up into the spotlight. And Dalvin Cook, he's one of the game's top running backs. He's probably top 3 if you take out guys like Christian McCaffrey and Saquon who are injured right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say it'll be like 38-34 Seahawks.
For me, I got the Seahawks on this one. They're the better put together football team. I'm actually confused with the Vikings right now. I had like better expectations for them coming into the season. And they just been disappointing. But at the same time, there has been, like Jake mentioned, with their receivers and stuff, their receivers are doing well here and there, and they have the rookie as well. I think the score would be I wasn't thinking of it to be this close, but I actually think that this one will be one of the closer games out of like the 3 primetime games. So I'm gonna go ahead and say 24-21. But I got the Seahawks on that. Yeah. So this one on Monday, this one is really crazy because Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Chargers, had like a whole shootout with Tom Brady playing against the Bucks, which was pretty crazy how he just kept up with that. So him matching up with Drew Brees, I want you guys to kind of take that into consideration a little bit and just the 2 teams in general. So Monday night, Chargers, Saints. Who you got, Jake?
I got the Saints. They've had some more time. They played Thursday night, I believe. is correct me if I'm wrong this week, but I think they played the Lions on Thursday night. And they did not look good in my opinion. And I think they still won, obviously, because it's Detroit, who's just not that good of a football team. But I think the Saints are going to be able to have some more time. I think Sean Payton is a really good coach, and I think they're going to be able to figure it out. And I think, yeah, Justin Herbert's looked really good. Props to him. But the defense is still a little banged up for the Chargers, and Eckler is probably going to be out too. I think they may have put him on injured reserve, or they're considering it after he hurt it. I believe he hurt his hamstring or something.
That hurts me for fantasy.
Yeah, it hurts the Chargers too. I mean, he kind of stepped in when Melvin Gordon was holding out last year, and really played and turned himself into a force in the league. And without him, I don't see. I mean, Joshua Kelly's a guy that he's like a backup running back. He's not bad for a backup, but he's not a guy that you compare with Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and say this is a team that can take down Drew Brees even without Michael Thomas. I'm going to go with Saints. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring. I'll say like 17-10.
All right. I guess this is my first time to get to be different. I'm going to go with the kid on this one, bro. I think I'm going to go with the Chargers. He showed me a lot in the game against the Bucks, and I think that's a lot to build off. 20 of 25, dang near 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game against the Buccaneers in a shootout against a team that definitely has more firepower available than the Saints have, I would say, in terms of receivers to throw the ball to. Talking about Austin Eckler only had 14 yards total on the game. That's rushing and receiving. I think it was like 12 yards rushing and 2 yards like receiving. Like he wasn't really a crazy factor in the game overall as it was. And they hung in that game pretty well. I mean, obviously as a young player, that one interception hurts turnover-wise for him. But, I mean, 5 incompletions on the night, like, I mean, that's something to build off of against a team that, again, is going to have a lot of opportunities to strike and strike big with guys like Mike Evans, Godwin. I think they're going to have O.J. Howard out pretty much for the rest of the season, I think it said. So that's going to be kind of a rough blow, but I don't think it's going to hit them too hard to the point that it's going to affect anything moving forward for the Buccaneers. But the Saints don't have nearly that kind of firepower, and Justin Herbert was able to stick around. I think the presence of Eckler is going to be one moving forward that I think the Chargers miss if he misses extended time. But I think 1 week off against a team that's kind of missing their better player as it is on their end, I think the way I see it is the Chargers caught the Saints at a good time, and I think they get her done. I'm going to say it's like 24-21 though. So not too crazy like you said before, Jake. Nothing like too high, but I think that 24-21 and not as much of a shootout, but more of a let's hang in there kind of thing for the kid. Maybe doesn't have as good as a completion percentage on the night against the Saints defense. That's a lot better, but still does his thing. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers on a limb.
Yeah, that's not bad. See, this one was a little bit challenging for me, so I had to think it through a little bit. But you guys brought up the injuries, and I'm like, oh crap, yeah, you guys are right. Because I mean, with the loss of Austin Eckler, that's big. Both of these teams are kind of and then but at the same time, the Saints have Alvin Kamara. That's kind of how I see it. So that's what's leaning me more towards the Saints to win this game. But I do think the Chargers will still be able to hang in there with Justin Herbert. And I see the game being really, really close. I see it being Saints 27, Chargers 24.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we got to see what Herbert do, though. I mean, that's all it comes down to. I'm going to put my trust in the kid and be a little different, see what's up with him. I like him, though. You've been doing
Herbert.
Sure.
It's just a funny name to say. Okay, so question of the day is, which primetime game are you most excited to watch? Of course, drop your scores below. And just in case, also, who do you think is going to win Week 5 of Fantasy with Jake taking the win in Week 4? Like, comment, subscribe. Jake, I'm Tony. This is Culture Blitz. We'll see you next time.
Peace.